finally here! Hello guys and welcome back to TNT Madness. Today we're going to be looking at one of the most impressive cannons I have ever made, and one that has been the most frustrating cannon I've ever made too, but that is Leinadarcher cannon. I've been putting this off for ages, not because I didn't want to, because I've spent hours and hours and hours and hours trying to fix it, because there are so many bugs in 1.8 that weren't in 1.7, and even some of the ones that were in the earlier versions of 1.8, there are even worse ones in the latest version of Minecraft. So because of this one has been specially made for Minecraft 1.8, and it is one of the few canon Leinadarcher cannons that can work in Minecraft 1.8.8. It's the only one that I know of, and this took me way too long to build. And I know it looks really big and complex, but compared to other Leinadarchers, this thing is absolutely tiny. But it is extremely advanced, and the reason it's so big and huge and advanced is because it does four things. It is a hybrid, a scatter, a slab buster, and a sand stacker, all in one cannon, which is why Leinadarcher cannon is so popular, because it can do everything in one go. So that's pretty much how this works, but what a slab buster is it busts slabs, so it destroys all the slabs. Sand stacker, it stacks layers of sand, like 6 or 10 or 12 sand on top of each other in one go. Hybrid destroys walls through water, and scatter pretty much just destroys more walls through water. It's pretty much just a bumped up version of hybrid cannon. So that's this thing. Let's actually take a look in action, because there's a lot here to cover. So over here we have just got our general wall. It has got some slabs, obsidian at the bottom so we can't actually destroy it, and just a giant wall with water on top of it, and this is a very hard wall to get through, and it's the ideal wall that someone on a faction server would have, but this is actually really good because it shows off all the aspects of this cannon. So the first one we have here is just this layer of slabs. So before we can stack or anything, we need to actually get rid of that layer of slabs. So to do that, we are going to flick up this lever because it's got to turn scatter mode on, and if we flick this one up, it'll turn sand stacker mode on. That's why these two are here. So if we come around the back, press the button, we'll see TNT starts flying out, then the hammer starts going off, and it'll push out the TNT, fire it down, and then it'll start exploding and create a huge hole. So actually that didn't destroy all the slabs, so actually let's just do that again. And what happens is the TNT from the hammer is pushing the TNT that gets fired out downwards, so straight away it instantly goes straight to the bottom, still wasting time actually going to the bottom. So you can have this at the highest limit and it'll shoot the sand, slabs, anything all the way down to the bottom, and that's why the hammer is so useful, but it is a pain to make in 1.8. So now we can actually use the sand stacker. So what I've done is I've put a cobweb down there because the pistons fire down here anyway, so it destroys that cobweb. So what I want to do now is turn that off and turn this on. So now we have sand stacker mode activated and scatter mode won't activate. So now the hammer is going down, and what should happen is the hammer will push all the sand down, as we can see. So that's how the sand stackers work, and as you can see it stacks a perfect 6 sand, and this is only works in 1.8.8. It doesn't work in other versions, unfortunately. Actually some older ones work much better than this one does, but this is for 1.8.8, which a lot of servers are on now. So as you can see, that's how that worked. We're still going to have to stack this higher to actually breach the wall, but you get the basic idea of how it works. But how it works is the actual TNT, which is the hammer, when it fires out on top, it pushes all the sand down in half a tick or a game tick, so that way the sand stacks, and when it realizes, oh, it's in that position, then it just stacks on top of each other. There are much more in-depth videos on how to do that, and I should be doing one in the future. So anyway, let's do that again so we can actually get it to the height so we can use our scatter mode. So if we reactivate this, we can now press the button again, and it should work the exact same way it did just a second ago. As we can see, the sand now is stacked to that height, and it's stacked another 6 sand, and now we can actually breach it. So for this thing, you are going to actually deactivate both of them, and most Leinadarcher cannons don't have scatter mode because they break if you have both of them deactivated, but what this one actually does is it fires the sand inside the actual thing. So now all we want to do is reactivate this by popping all the sand back up the top. You don't actually need 6 sand here, it's just more effective if you're doing a large area. So now as we can see, everything is going simultaneously, and it's going to fire out, and all the sand, it's going to blow up inside the sand and create an absolute massive hole. Of course it's going to destroy half your stack, but as you can see, this thing is very, very powerful, and actually it's very complex because I've tried to compact it as much as I can. So that's how this fires. So let's actually take a look at the redstone. So the redstone here is extremely complex actually, because there is so much going on and there's lots of things that are just happening. But what we have here is we've just got our stone button. It's actually stone instead of wooden this time, because you have a higher delay, because most of it's based on redstone torches instead of just general redstone, because that makes it a lot easier to work with, and it can make it smaller in some situations. It just makes it slightly longer to fire at this middle TNT and everything else. But it also means you can have shorter delays along here. So the main prowess is that we have our compressor cannon type build at the very back here, just very amplified. So we have got our tiny compressor thing at the back here which fires off TNT, and then TNT here fires, and then it pushes all the TNT up to here, except this works slightly differently because we don't have a slab, because that doesn't actually work in 1.8.8. It works in 1.8.6 and below, but not in 1.8.8, so we have to use fences, which is a little bit annoying. But the way we combat this is we have a water stream that flows back down, because the TNT will actually go slightly over, but then this water here will push it back into place, and then the TNT will stay here, and this TNT will go slightly over, but it will go back into place very quickly, and we have to actually do some stuff here to make sure it does that. So that's how we get this here, and then it can fire it way out there. And the reason we have these iron things up here I'll get to later, but for now we're just going to get on with it. So the redstone splits in two directions to start off here. It splits up to the top here to activate all these dispensers, and it goes down the bottom here. But what happens here is, instead of using all these redstone torches on the side, on both sides, I didn't go for that because I could actually use the space up here, like for this area here, and it just uses a lot less resources if you have the top bit powering the top and then you have redstone torches around the side. But it all is based on the same prowess, because you have this redstone torch here that turns off, and then you have all these redstone torches that turn off there, so that's one tick, and then you have an extra tick because of the repeater there and a repeater there. So these are all synced up perfectly. It may not look like it, but they are. So what happens after that is it splits off down here, and then some redstone pops off at different parts along here. So the first thing it does is it goes all the way along here, which is 12 total ticks, into this really condensed area of redstone mush. So what we have here is we have these two pistons here, which are called Piston Aligners, because what they do is, if you don't know, TNT is 0.98 blocks tall / wide, so we need to have a way to put it on one side or else it will not be accurate. So we have everything being pushed to the very edge, the propellant, the actual scatter TNT, the sand gets pushed to the side, and the hammer, everything gets pushed to the side, because what happens is this goes through this monostable circuit, so it has a 1 tick delay, so this will pulse on and just push all the TNT after it's all fired out into the very corner before it actually fires out. So what happens after that is 3 ticks later, the sand that is accumulated in here will be pushed out, so that way it will fire 1 or 2 ticks after it's been pushed out, so that way it can fire out and it'll be on its way. And then what we have is we have got this little section going off the side here, which goes up to the very top here, which activates our hammer, which may look really weird because it is only 20 dispensers instead of 24, and if we have 24 then we can't actually stack 6 sand, it only stacks 4, and you can tell I'll spend hours on this if I know that. So that's the only reason we have there, but all this does is it goes to the very top and it turns off the redstone torches, and then when the button goes off, it will then go for all the delay and activate the hammer, and then that can go all the way down to the bottom here. And then we have this fancy circuit also going outside the monostable circuit, which goes along here, which goes straight up to the thing here, which extends this piston here, so it can push all the TNT that's in there, and then it will complete the barrel because there is no space there, and then it will send another signal going around to retract all of it. Quick edit there, just had something to deal with. But anyway, so that's how this works. So now when that's pushed out, it'll just retract after that, so it's all reset and good to go. Also, if you're wondering why we have water everywhere, it's not just to protect yourself, it's the main role of the water being here is so the TNT doesn't get caught in every spot. So we actually have to have water in this cannon, and so we can have all the water going down here, like I said. And the water along here is so water actually slows down TNT for the most part when you don't have too much propellant, and that is really good. It actually cancels it out when you have this giant propellant, but it mostly stops this from going too far. So that's the main reason why we have everything water. And what we have here is the final bit on the left side, and there are two major components here. we have got the thing that goes off the top here, and we've got this little repeater thing along here. All this does is activate your scatter thing that activates all your dispensers over here. And then we have got this other line of redstone that goes along the back here, and all that does is as soon as the cannon is activated, it'll pulse this piston, so that way it can destroy the cobweb. So if you have more sand than this, it will all go into here before you actually have anything, because if this re-extends, it'll just go into this tiny spot here, and that's the only reason I have that. But if it is in here, it can push this block and get rid of the trapdoor, and that would not be fun. So that's the only reason that is there, and that is pretty much how this works. It's very, very complex. It goes a lot more deeper than that, because there is so many things you have to worry about when building this. Because if you make one mistake, which I have done about 10 times on this, it will not go according to plan. So also, the reason we have a fence post down here instead of up here is so that if the sand does get caught in here, it gets shot along the way. And the fence is way down here, so if anything does get caught on here, it'll get caught half a block ahead, because we can't actually have a slab there. So yeah, that's how this works, and I'm actually going to get off the tutorial now. Also, before I do the tutorial, there will be a download for this, because I assume most people won't be building this straight off the go, because they might just want to have a look at it and see that I'm not lying about all the stuff, which I'm definitely not, and that's fine, because some people won't be building this, and lots of people request downloads anyway, so that'll be there anyway. So now onto the tutorial. So what you're going to need is you're going to need an 8x16 area, or 8x18 if you're going to use this little space at the very front, which is where you're going to be holding your water, which is not necessary, it's just nice if you don't want to make a mess. And then we've got this gold area here to represent where the middle of the cannon or barrel is, where all the water is and TNT is going to be laying. And then we got glass here where no blocks at all are going to be placed, so it's just extra space if you want scaffolding or need that space for some reason. Also, if you're going to be building this, you should have a ton of resources, so I'm only doing them in bulk, because most of this you're going to need more than a stack of anyway. So you're going to need some building blocks, some slabs, some redstone repeaters, some redstone torches, some dispensers. Then you're going to need 5 pistons, 3 sticky pistons, a comparator, a stone button, has to be stone, some cobwebs, some sand, a whole lot of TNT, 3 iron trapdoors, and 2 fences. So to start with, you're going to want to build your main cannon bit like we usually do. So what you want to do is go 1 block from the back, place dispensers on the side like so, go ahead and place a block behind it, and then you want to go ahead and make a 1x4 pillar beside it, and another 1x4 pillar again. Then you want to go in front of it by 6 blocks place 2 more 1x4 pillars, and then you want to go ahead and fill in those areas with dispensers with a total of 5x4 area on each side, creating a total of 20 dispensers on each side. This is going to be your main propellant. I'm going to do the other side off camera. So now we're going to go over here, which is going to be your main bit where you're going to be placing where all the propellant is going to line up, and you're going to have everything else going on. So what you want to just do is destroy a block there, go down and place a fence post there and there. Make sure you have all the sides covered and the sides covered around it, so that way there's all the points sticking out except the one on the very left here. After that, we're going to then be placing our piston aligner. So you want to place a block here, place a piston here, and a piston here. After that, you can then place a block here and put in your scatter, which is going to be dispensers here, here, and here. That's also going to be the top of your barrel, so from then on you can then just place 2 more blocks along like so. And then we can just cover up this side here because we are not going to be using it anymore. But over here we are then going to be adding our sand stacker. So what you want to do is make some temporary blocks so you can then place down your pistons like so. Then you can get rid of them, and this is where all your sand is going to be. So that is actually going to complete the barrel. So then you can just cover it up like so. And you want to actually make this block a slab, which I'll explain later on, because you just don't want that block being powered, or else it'll actually power this block because redstone's going into it. So after that you want to place your iron trapdoors on top. Actually has to be iron. And then we're going to now be working on the hammer. So you want to go up 1 block like so, because it's where it's going to be going in, and then you want to go along the back here and grab your sticky pistons, so that way you can have it all meeting on this level here. So now we're going to be building the hammer. So what you want to do is place a block here, then you want to go back a few blocks because it's going to be a scaffolding. So this is where the block's going to be, so you want to get rid of that block, and then place your sticky piston here, so that way it's going to push it under it. So you want to then place a block here, and then a block on top like so, and then we're going to finish off making our barrel, and then we're going to work on our hammer. So at this point it should look something like this. Then we can just clear up this area around it, or we can make it glass or whatever you like, and then this is the part where it's going to be entering. So now we can replace this block with a dispenser, and we can place a block here. So we're going to then create a little area around it that is going to all be dispensers, and then we're going to bring this side up by 6, up to a total height of 6, and this by up to a total height of 6 as well, followed by these two being 4 high, and then we're going to have just filling up the blocks along here. And then after that, if you want to make this area be your slab thing, then all you want to do is bring it down by a block, place a block here, and then cover it around here, and then the water will be caught in this little dish here. So now it should look something like this, and what you want to do is, before we do anything else, is just add our slab on the top there, so that way you don't have to worry about later on. That's just going to be the max height for your slabs. But now we're going to be building the actual redstone part of it, so that's good. So what you want to do is go up by a block, and then grab your button, and then you're going to be placing it on the back of this block, and you want your comparator too, because we're going to be using that. Then after that, we are then going to be using the redstone to be going into these blocks here. You actually want to replace these blocks with some sort of transparent block, so that way it doesn't power these dispensers here. And then after that, we are then going to be taking an output from the top of this block. So what you want to do is place a block there and a block on top like so. Then you want redstone torch on top with a few more blocks here with redstone going in the side of them, and a redstone repeaters, and then you just want to bring redstone all the way along it like so. After that, you have then sorted that bit out. So now we're going to be building the torch bits for each side. So what you want to do is go along back 2 blocks like so, then bring it back by 5 blocks and place redstone torches along like so. Then you want to put redstone on top, and then you want to repeat this on the other side. So go back by 2 blocks, then you want to go ahead and bring them out, place redstone on top of them, and redstone torches on the side. These redstone torches also power the redstone dispensers down here as well. It does the same with pistons and everything else. So now we're going to connect them. They're going to be ever so slightly different. This one is going to be going up by 1 block, and this one's going to be brought out by 1 block and put a dispense repeater along here. So that one's going up while this one is staying at ground level. So you just want to bring some blocks around the side like so, and bring redstone around like this, and now it should look something like this. And this is going to power your back dispensers and your main propellant. So we're already getting there. So now we're going to be building the scatter. So what you want to do is get 7 redstone repeaters set to 4 ticks delay, so you get a total of 28 ticks delay, and that should bring it to a point round about here. Make sure it is 7. Then you want to place your comparator out the front here, right click it so that way it will be in subtraction mode. Then you want to place redstone there, and there, and then this bit's important. You want to place a slab here with redstone on top. After that, you're going to place yet another slab on top of this, so that way the redstone can be brought up here, and then you can just have it going along the side here and brought up to this dispenser as so. So as you can see, it'll just come along like this, and as you can see, the reason we need it like this is so the slab here, so it doesn't power this block, so it doesn't power that dispenser. Very important, it is just there so it can save space. Now we're going to be adding on our little thing that will go along here and power this piston along here. So what you want to do is you want to bring out a couple of blocks, but before we do that, we're going to be placing our redstone here, then a block here, followed by a block underneath it, because this is where our actual monostable circuit is going to be. So you want to place a sticky piston like so, then you're going to place a block behind it, and you want to place a redstone repeater here, go 1 block back, place another redstone repeater and another block here with redstone on top. So we're just taking the same signal that we have here, we're just bringing it along here so it will pulse this piston here. So that is the left side done. Now we're going to work on the right side, which has a little bit more action. So what you want to do is bring out some redstone there with redstone repeaters going along here, block there, then you want to place some more redstone repeaters. You want to have 12 in total, so I've got 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So now this area is very complex but very compact. So the first thing we want to do is place a block here with a redstone repeater going out the side here with a piece of redstone on top. Then all we want to do is drag that piece of redstone going from there up to here so we can have a signal going up the top there. Now this is going to be a monostable circuit, so you want to get a sticky piston, place it there, then you want to place a piece of redstone here. If this wasn't a repeater, then it wouldn't be able to power this, but then after that you want to then place your redstone repeater there with a block in front of it and redstone here. This will power this block, which will then power this block. This redstone will power this block, which will both pulse both these piston aligners here. So now we're going to be bringing redstone up to this piston, but we're going to be doing it in 2 pulses. So the first thing we want to do is place a block here, with a piece of redstone on top of it, with a block going all the way along the side here. But before that, we're going to add redstone repeaters underneath it, one set to 4 ticks there, and another one set to 4 ticks under it, and then we're going to have a block here, and then we're going to have redstone going along here all the way. So now we're going to make sure that this doesn't repower the whole circuit. So what we're going to do is we're going to make this piece here a slab, so that way the power will be limited here and won't be an infinite clock. And then we're going to actually make this piece here a slab as well, so that way it can bring the redstone from down here up. So now all we need to do here is place another block down with a redstone repeater set to 4 ticks delay, with a block in front of it, and then we're going to have a block beside it like so, and this will then have redstone on top, so that way it'll power the piston. This will push it out, and then it'll push it back in after it's fired. So before we actually start working on the hammer, I've made a very small mistake. We actually have this one not be 4 high, and this one on the end here be 6 high. So be aware of that if you are building this, because it is going to be a huge struggle if you don't have that. But anyway, now we're going to continue on with the hammer. So what you want to do is place a block there with redstone on top, then we're going to place an upside down half slab, then we're going to place redstone on top of that, bring the block out by 1, bring it up, and then have another block out like so. Place a redstone repeater set to 4 ticks, followed by 2 more redstone, and now we're going to place blocks along here, and we're going to have it go in sort of an L shape all the way along here. And then we're going to have a second one and a third one along the very top here, and then we're just going to have another one going around the side here. So this is going to be a little bit complicated because we're going to actually have slabs on these sides here, and then we're going to have this be the solid block, and then we're going to have another slab along the top here, and followed by another upside down half slab here. This is so we can actually have the redstone snake all the way up like so, and this will allow it to power all these dispensers because we're going to have redstone torches on the outside, but still not have them actually power any of the dispensers. One thing you also want to keep in mind is you won't have any redstone that is beside a dispenser like so. You want to have it a slab, so that way it doesn't actually power the dispensers. Very important. So after that, what we want to do is then place redstone torches on the side of all the blocks like so, and then you are then done your hammer. So now you are nearly done. You've done basically all the redstone. All we have to do now is add the water and some cobwebs and stuff. So what we want to do is we don't need to place any actual water at the back. We just need to place water all the way along here, going all the way to the top. This water will actually run it back down this way, as you can see, so the compressor TNT will actually stay at the very back here. And then after that, we want to go up here and place some water down here. And then you want to make sure that this tiny piece up here is actually covered, and then you want to place water here, here, and here. So after that, you can then go inside here, and then you want to make sure that there is water coming along here. So what I like to do for here is actually just make sure that there is water here. So I destroy this piece here and then replace it with my iron. Personally, this is just how I build it. You don't have to build it like this, so that way the water will flow into there. But before we do that, we have to get water flowing in here. So what I personally do is I just place water there. You don't have to, but then you can go ahead and then place water here and replace it with a slab, and then the water will have this effect here, and the water will accumulate there. As you can also see, there is water going into the side here, but this doesn't matter because you're going to be placing a cobweb here anyway. And then you want to place a cobweb up here, and then you can then place your sand on the top, and then you can place TNT in all these dispensers for 10 years. Took me about that to actually finish this whole thing. So anyway, that's this done, and you should be proud of yourself because this will take forever to build. But as you can see, it is very impressive. It is actually very complicated, and for what I did, I think I got it pretty well compacted. So anyway, hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you did, please hit that like button and subscribe. But anyway, goodbye from TNT Madness.